and souls of fire inside. Chasing dreams where the legends hide. Through the turns, the glory's real. Behind the wheel, we feel the thrill. Papa's house, the crown shines bright. Crazy lanes in the dead of night. Austin GT and 𝙃𝙼𝙑𝙀. Grim and the crew driving it insane. Erratic twists and Marley's groove. 𝙃𝙼𝙆𝙀's grace with every move. 𝙃𝐼𝙂𝙀 and jesters grin. This is the race where we all begin. 𝙃20 wave, buzz the track. Duchy's road, there's no going back. Worries pace and TQ's stride. 𝑃 and 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀, the kingdom's pride. Papa's house, the crown shines bright. Crazy lanes in the dead of night. Austin GT and 𝙃𝙃𝙀. Grim and the crew driving it insane. Legends carved on asphalt's face. Racing royalty holds the space. We honor them, we join the scene. Our favorite racers, the speed supreme. Erratic twists and Marley's groove. 𝙃𝙃𝙀's grace with every move. 𝙃𝐼𝙂𝙀's and jesters grin. This is the race where we all begin. Erratic twists and Marley's groove. 𝙃𝙃𝙀's grace with every move. 𝙃𝐼𝙂𝙀's and jesters grin. This is the race where we all begin. Insane. 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 Erratic twists and Marley's groove. 𝙃𝙃𝙀's grace with every move. 𝙃𝐼𝙂𝙀's and jesters grin. This is the race where we all begin.
What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? VKG back in the building, back in the house, man. I am excited today. It's good to see y'all already here. Big shout out to Grove coming in. I see you as a member, man. My dog. We have a special one today, a very special one today. Again, I don't know if y'all have a Mount Rushmore of sim racers in the either in the GT community, ACC iRacing. I don't care. You guys gotta have 𝙃𝙼𝙑 up there. It's I mean, I don't know if I go anywhere more often to get racecraft and figure out what I need to be doing on the dailies or even time trials, whatever it is. You know you can go by 𝙃𝙼𝙑 Racing. You know you can get some racecraft. You know what car you need to drive. You know the brake bias. You know the tire temps. All those things. He puts it all together for you, and we're honored today to have him as a guest on the show. This is episode 17, so shout out to all 18 of the Behind the Wheel alumni, because we did have the double Grim and Erratic show. But I'd like to introduce you guys straight out of Croatia, the man, the myth, the guru of GT, 𝙃𝙼𝙑 Racing. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
No, pretty good. Thank you very much for having me here. And I guess you just explained why people watch me. So
Oh yeah,
sometimes it's good to actually be reminded of what actually people are interested in. And yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Nice to be here.
yes sir, yes sir. Let me definitely thank you for making my life easier in Gran Turismo. I'm telling you, it is truly a blessing to have you be a part of the community. Today, I definitely want to get into why and how and what made you build this channel, especially the website, 𝙃𝙼𝙑 Racing. Shout out to that. That's something that I use often. But we're here to just, put you in the hot seat, man, and hear all about you. So thank you for being here, man. It's an absolute honor.
No problem, man. No problem.
So I want to
Well,
get
yeah,
into
go ahead.
you stream out of Croatia, and there's not a whole lot of there's a lot of people all spread all over the world, but Croatia's a new one for us. Tell us what Croatia's like and what weather is down there right now.
You want to know the weather?
For sure.
Uh, the weather is sunny and and nice. Actually, it was a pretty nice day today. And it's to be fair, Croatia is not like a country that you would usually. You would you can visit. It's a very nice country, but only in summer. In the winter times, it's not that great. I mean, it's pretty. Um, well, there are not that many things to do, but in general, I like it here. And as you said, not many streamers from Croatia. I don't think.
No,
Maybe
I
a
know my boy.
few.
I think my boy Beavis is out there. Shout out to
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
So, and
yeah. He is
another one, he runs like a whole Croatian like racing event, I think now. I remember he was trying to get like a tournament together, something like that. So, but another really cool, awesome person out of there is racing like big in Croatia.
racing. Like, I mean, there are a lot of guys that like to watch racing, but like racing, I think not that much because there is like only. I mean, I'm gonna say only one track where you can like really go racing in Croatia. That's 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀. It's not an FIA track, or I think it was in some kind of series, but there are not that many events happening there every year. So it's more like an amateur approach to it. We got a lot of hill climbs. I think we got a lot of slaloms, but we don't have like racing that you see or the racing that I want to do. Uh,
Uh,
for example, like GT3s, you just don't see that here.
we've
It just
actually
doesn't happen.
seen you. I got to see some footage of you driving an actual, what was it, GR4 race car.
Yeah, that's
So
the Aston Martin GT4 car. It
we got a
was.
little footage of that for later. You also drove in real life the Expo.
Yeah, the Expo was a lot of fun actually. I mean, out of all of the cars, it's like a big kart, and it's a completely different way of driving. I don't
The
even know how to
perspective
explain it.
is,
Just nice. Yeah.
yeah, when I saw you like actually sit down in it, because I watched the video a few times. I actually saw it, I was like, wow, the thing looks really, really simple. Like you turn the key in, it's got a, shifter stick, little screen,
Mhm.
but it seems like pure cart.
Yeah, that's like no ABS, no DCS, no nothing. So basically, it's a kart, and it's like bigger. So that's about it. It
Okay.
just I think the starting procedure is a little bit more difficult because you need to press I think like two buttons or something. You need to I don't know how it actually works out right now. I forgot about it. But
Hey,
I
I
knew
have
that.
no idea.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it's I'm excited to show that some footage. We got rig progress footage. I mean, you've had quite the evolution in your sim racing
Yeah.
rig build. I think you're in a couple different locations as well, as far as like going from one room to the next. You said you started sim racing way back in the day on PS2, right? Gran Turismo 1 and 2, or 2 and 3.
Mhm. It was 2 and 3. And yeah, that was my basically my first racing game. I think it was my first racing game, Gran Turismo 3.
What kind of
Uh,
what launched
yeah.
that? Why was it the racing instead of, you said you played a little bit of soccer games, but has it always been racing games?
But mostly it was racing games and soccer or football, as we call it here. It was, I mean, it still is very popular, and everyone played it. So I had to play it as well. I mean, that's how it goes. You're like 8 years old, and of course you're gonna play whatever others are playing because that's
Oh yeah.
exactly what you're going to do.
I mean, not
So
everybody had a system too, so it was kind of like, you went to where
yeah,
the games were.
yeah. And it was really difficult to get those games. And I guess the only titles that I could actually cut my hands on, well, actually, my dad got it for me because I was too young, I guess, and had no money. But all in all, all in all, I just got those titles because those titles were very popular, and I got stuck with that. Basically, it's not like you go online these days and you just click on download. It didn't work that way. You need to know like a guy that has a guy that gets a shop or whatever it used to be. So it was really difficult to get new games. So I guess just got stuck with the old games, and I played a lot of them. So that was really good. So I remember that one GT3. That was a good period.
That's an interesting topic you bring up because, yeah, I mean, you used to, like, we talk about like thumbnail game being strong now. Like back in the day, that was all you had to judge a game. You went into a Blockbuster or a video store or whatever I know it was Blockbuster out here. I know what you guys had out in Croatia, but if you wanted to
We had
rent a
nothing.
video game, if you
No,
wanted to
literally
rent a
not
video game, you
exist.
had to look at that. So you guys, how did you get your hands on this stuff? Was it really like, one kid in the neighborhood kind of had this, or was it?
Yeah, yeah. It was basically like I mean I'm gonna say a part of this was not legal, but it was literally the only way to get games. And as an 8-year-old, you just didn't care because that's how it goes. Who
Hey,
cares? Who
man,
knows?
I ain't snitching if I'm playing. So
Exactly.
so I know, so my perspective, Croatia. So when I guess when you that makes me interested in a whole nother aspect of it, like growing up as a kid, did you guys have access to a lot of the new tech, or was it kind of delayed, or because now, I mean,
Mm.
you have top of the line gear. Was it always so?
No, I mean when I was a kid, basically, it's kind of a stupid story to tell, but I was actually born at the end of the war as a Croatian independent war, and in those days there was nothing in the country. Like literally half of the country was destroyed. So no tech, no nothing, and I think it was like basically 2000s, 2000, maybe 2005. Things started to get better, and then like 2010. I think it already we got some tech, but we didn't get any kind of stuff like blockbusters or whatever you want to call it. We didn't even have like KFC, and we just had, I think McDonald's was the only fast food chain in the country. Maybe
Wow.
we had it with something, but basically just I don't know if you ever visit kind of a country that doesn't have all of those
No,
commercialized or globalized brands, whatever you want to call them.
no, I've never
Um,
experienced anything like that. I mean, it's in my mind,
yeah,
I've been able to kind of go and do and really kind of be spoiled. I guess when you put it that way, it's I've lived a very rough life, but at the same time, nowhere near, not
I
having
mean it's
amenities kind of like that at just our fingertips.
well, no, it's not like that. We had everything that you needed as a kid. You know, you're not like you didn't have things. You had things, but you were kind of limited on only one brand, for example.
Right.
And you had maybe a couple of later. I actually remember that we used to go even to Italy to go shopping because we didn't have stuff, regular stuff that you have in the grocery store today. I think it was okay. I mean, I don't really consider that as a bad part of my life. You just had less brands, and that's about it.
Hey,
Yeah, nothing much to
it
say.
might have actually simplified life. I mean,
It
I
does.
know trying to, it was either Nintendo or Sega, and then like when the next generation of games came out, it was N64 or PlayStation. It was like you had that, and then it was PlayStation really on an island by itself, and then Xbox One came out, and then it was like PlayStation or Xbox. So what pushed you into, the Gran Turismo PlayStation side? Did you have an option, or was it like, here's what I got, I'm gonna stick to it?
Mm, well, I just got a PlayStation because that's what my dad got me, and I got stick. I just got on with it, and that was basically it. And then I think it was later. I don't know exactly what year it was, but I got a PlayStation 3, and it just kept on going. I never really considered any other options because I think we had Xbox, which came later, and PlayStation was always there. So yeah, that was basically the option. Just PlayStation, I guess. It just I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It was
I
never really like a choice that I made. It was just
I think
I
I
just
tried
stick with it.
everything,
Yeah.
at least at one point, but I mean, I remember having like a Dreamcast and it crapped out on me. I had an Xbox and it crapped out on me. I've honestly, my PlayStations have been tanks. Like we still have like 3 operational PS4s in the houses that run basically on a daily basis, on the PS5, and I feel like they are tanks. And then for me it's kind of like I don't know if you're an Apple or a Microsoft guy, but I've always kind of been Microsoft. So I've always kind of felt like PlayStation has kind of been very compatible with a lot of things. So I don't know. For me, it's always been PlayStation.
Yeah, I think kind of the same way. I mean, I tried a couple of consoles, but I never really spent too much time with it because PlayStation was always like the number one here, and always the biggest titles were always on PlayStation. So it was always for me
Right.
the most obvious choice. So if I'm spending my money, I'm going to spend it on something that I'm going to use. So
Yeah, for
that was
sure.
basically it.
For sure.
Yeah,
They do, got to get that quality. Let's take a minute to shout out to the chat. I don't know if you got the chat up, but so many people already in here. You got Wrench
yeah.
Wench, Grove Street, Steven, Blanco, Pyro, David, just I mean, absolute
A lot of
growth,
familiar
blueprints, a
names.
lot of familiar names. Thank you guys for being here. I
Yes.
appreciate y'all. We do
Thank you,
this for
guys.
y'all. Big shout out to Digit taking the time out of his day. I know it's time different wise. I believe it's what 7 p.m. going on 8 p.m. for you,
Yeah, yeah,
and
something like that.
it's 10 going on 11 a.m. for me. So we are worldwide, episode 17. We definitely want to get into, like I said, one of the things about this community and when we view Digit or when your name comes up, and I don't, you're not behind the doors, so I'll give you kind of an insight as like we were talking earlier, like when we say we'll be in a chat and something will come up, whether it's break bias or it's this or how to take this, somebody always says more often than not, well, Digit said, or well, Digit did this, or well, Digit did that. And it's like, okay, that trumps everything in the sim racing world. I don't know if there's any other name that has more reverence than Digit said. And I want to kind of talk it into how you got to this point. I want to go over the rig progress and how this game has become to play such a pivotal role in your life, and which has translated to you becoming a pivotal role in our lives. So, kind of give us the breakdown of when this streaming thing started and when Gran Turismo took off for you.
I think it was 2020, or it was actually 2019. I'm not exactly sure when it was the first time I actually got started with all of this YouTube stuff and definitely live streaming. But I think 2020 was a year that changed a lot of things for me because I started doing things more. I started uploading my videos regularly, and then in 2021, I think COVID. So there wasn't really much to do, was it? So
No.
I just uploaded more videos, I live streamed more, and then eventually COVID stayed with us for like a couple of years. And yeah, that was basically the journey. I just started and I kept on doing this. Of course, you started learning things that works, the things that don't work. There was also a release of no, another PlayStation of a Gran Turismo 7, 2022 April, I think it was. So yeah, I remember that I took a couple of days off from work. Actually, it was 2 days off because there was the launch of GT7, and I just played GT7 for like two days straight. That was it. And then later, I think it was I don't know exactly what was the day, but like a couple of months apart from the GT7 release to I think it was deep, not Deep Forest, Trial Mountain. Sorry, it was Trial Mountain, and I uploaded this video where I just kind of got myself in. It was Daily Race B, and it was also a B-rated lobby, and I was building my second account. Now it's still my second account. And I uploaded that video and boom, all of a sudden I'm like 100, 200,000 views. I'm like, what is going on? 300,000.
Holy smoke.
I'm looking at the charts. I'm refreshing. Every time I refresh, it's like 500 new views. And I'm like, what is going on? I mean, it wasn't exactly 500, but at least like 50 or 100. And then I'm like, what is going on? How does this even work? And then all of a sudden, I'm like at 750,000 views. And yeah, that became, I think now it's at 800 or something plus thousand views. And I was like, oh man, I don't know how it got me there, but in a period of like 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, I gained like 5,000 new subscribers. And I was already like from 10,000 to 15, it was like, bam. And I was like, what did I do? And I'm like, okay, maybe because it was an interesting video to watch. So maybe that the algorithm definitely helped and all of that. But that kind of boosted my interest into YouTube and what really works and what doesn't work. So you've probably seen a lot of videos. I mean, recently, I posted also a lot of my videos about, getting into a B or A or C-rated lobby and then just trying to move your way up. That's how it goes, and it's usually fun for me. But I get a lot of positive, and I also get a lot of negative comments. I'm like, am I really going to do this content, or I'm just going to
Yeah.
skip it this time? Or I try to throw it in occasionally. I mean, basically when something happens and I try to start a new account, maybe in a different region or so.
Right.
That's when I do it, and yeah, I guess that's kind of started or really increased my interest in Gran Turismo. And from then on, it was, as you mentioned, the progression of my rig. GT Omega came. Um, I got the Fanatec GT DD Pro. That was my first direct drive. Then a whole bunch of progressive stuff. I mean, I got the new stand. I got the monitor that was a lot better. The whole setup, the new PC, capture cards, graphics cards, you name it. I mean, there is a lot of stuff that you don't see, and well, everyone is still thinking about what gear that I use for racing, but I mostly spend my days on my PC actually editing the video. So it's more like I'm thinking about my PC that you don't see, rather than really spending too much time doing some kind of modifications on my rig. So that's something that, well, people usually don't pay that much attention to. So it's different. And as you mentioned, the progression, yeah, that was my first rig. I was still in college back then.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember talking to you one time. I had said something about I think somehow I shared my rig. I think it might have been even on your Discord. And you had
Possibly.
commented back like I started on the same rig. It was like the playtime seat, with like, just a little wheel.
Yeah.
Cause when I watch you guys, I'm like, oh man, they must have started on this, they got all this equipment. But then I go back. I really like to go back in the
No.
history of, kind of some of the channels and see like where they started, what they were on, and if you were still hitting times that you're like hitting now. Do you think the equipment plays a huge role in your quality time or your race time? Like, how important is the equipment itself, and what do you think is the most important piece of equipment?
Mm, definitely, I would say the pedals, but the equipment won't make you really fast. It will actually help you to progress faster. So, for example, if you got, I don't know, I had literally a desk and a chair and a G29, and I was fairly competitive. I remember when I got the G29, I had to change a whole bunch of things to set it up. Every time I was setting it up and moving it back, I wouldn't do it again. But I was still in A plus rated lobbies. I mean, it was still okay, but I could never really reach my potential because when I was racing, I mean, my pedal slipped, and it was like, this doesn't work. I mean, I need something because it just feels unstable. It just doesn't feel right. And then later, when I was watching my old videos, it was like, okay, I made this mistake. I made that mistake. I'm turning the wheel way too much. I don't know why was I doing that. I guess to make the car turn better, but realistically, it made the car turn way worse. And that's what I figured out later. But I think the direct drive really helped me with consistency. That's something that I always say. Like, definitely. I mean, jumping from a G29 to, I think it was a CSL. I landed here. That's my. I don't know if you cannot probably see it, but that's my CSL Elite. That's my first Fanatec base. And when I got this, it felt like my world just changed. It
Yeah.
was,
I had the exact same one. It was I went from the I got like a Thrustmaster T80, and then I ended up getting the GT 300, and then I got the CSL Elite. And I mean I was like a little kid. I was just like, this is amazing. All this new features, all this new stuff, and then the pedals were better. Everything seemed better. And then it was like, but there's another level, and that was the direct drive. And now
yeah.
you're on what, the GT Omega Prime rig, CSL pedals. You said you went from the V3s back to the CSLs, which I'm definitely interested in that. You're on the new Porsche
Yeah.
wheel, and then the DD Plus Fanatec base. Tell us a little bit about this new Porsche wheel.
I can show it to you. So why not show it to you and then explain what's up? So that's the wheel. I Yeah, it's a pretty nice looking wheel. I asked Fanatec. They sent me this one. I was really surprised that they actually sent me this one. But shout out to them. So good job with this. Maybe the only thing that I don't like, I'm usually talking about the things that I don't like. Maybe I should start talking about the things that I actually like.
Yes.
So I like all the stuff that you see right here, but I don't like the shifters. So the
Ah,
shifters, in my opinion, they are quite debatable because I know some people actually like the shifters. They're a little bit louder. They give you more like a clicky feeling.
Mhm.
But personally, I like the podium ones that I have with my V2.5. So that's something that I really enjoy. I just like the feel. I don't know. I guess maybe it's just personal preference. I don't want to make it sound that it's anything bad. It's just not bad. It's just different. And also the buttons, something that I would actually change. Not change, but I would take away from this wheel and build it on my V2.5, and that's these encoders. These are, in my opinion, a little bit more difficult to move, so they won't slip, even if they're, for example, when you're turning the wheel and all of a sudden you just slip on the encoder. That happens with the V2.5. With this thing, it doesn't happen. So you need to really be, okay, I'm moving this and I need to move it. Just, it's a different way of doing it. I think this one is done a much better way. It's a futuristic wheel, so I'm doing a review on this one, so that's going to be up in I think next week maybe, if I get the editing done. But all in all, I actually like this wheel. The only thing that I would change are the shifters, and the design may not be for everyone. I know it's like a visionary, visionary wheel. So if you like, I don't know, futuristic stuff, then it's for you. If you don't like it, then you just don't like it. I mean, but yeah, in
Wow.
general, I really enjoy this wheel. Maybe only a couple of wheels that I actually enjoy driving on. So really cool stuff, I would say, definitely.
Man, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have like a preference of your wheel? Do you like a round wheel, or are you, in the, so high up there that you get the luxury of changing out a wheel per car? Are you like big on that, or do you stick to one?
I stick to one. I stick with my Formula V 2.5, even though I would like that it was slightly wider, like 290 millimeters. I think now it's got to 80. I'm not exactly sure. I will need to check. So a little bit wider in general, and that's about it. I think it would be perfect. Something like 300, 290. That's the range that I would really prefer. But unfortunately, on the market, there are not that many wheels that you can pick from. There are a lot of wheels, but I tried most of them, and I mean, I'm quite picky, am I, on that stuff?
It's hey, it
Maybe,
sounds like you know your stuff though.
yeah,
I mean, I know you came from
yeah,
humble beginnings, but I mean, now that you got that sponsorship, now that you talk to
yeah.
Fanatec on a first name basis, man. I mean, that's these are some of the things that a lot of us guys that are aspiring to, and I think when you look at the numbers of a lot of the big streamers, you kind of get to like this, man. I have to get to 100,000, a quarter million, a million. I remember watching last year when you decided to go full time. That was a big announcement. It was a big deal. I know the community really rallied. It was a really special stream, and it was really cool that I actually got to see that. But what did you ever think you were going to go full time with streaming, or think you're going to have all these opportunities?
No way. No. No way. Maybe I was constantly thinking about it, but basically when I started streaming, I never thought like, okay, this is going to be my full-time job. It was more like a hobby, and that hobby all of a sudden became much more than a hobby. So I thought, maybe I can make this work. You're trying to make good stuff work for you, I guess. And I basically started doing more videos, more, I guess, quality videos in general, more live streams. And then all of a sudden, like I mean, I'm going to be realistic. We're talking about from the financial side. From the financial
People want
side,
to know
everything.
the reality.
Yeah, the reality is, how do you call it? It's not like you're just all of a sudden you're like traveling around the world and you're like doing all crazy stuff. Occasionally you do some stuff, but from the financial side or YouTube side, I'm going to call it, and my job, I mean, I really saw no chances of actually getting anything out of my job. So that's how it was. I mean, I looked at for example, my senior colleagues, and it took them, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years to actually get into something. And then eventually, when I look at the outcomes of those efforts, so for example, the financial outcomes, you start realizing that I'm probably going to spend like 10, 15 years on that job. Uh, and I'm really probably not going to get the financial reward that I deserve. Of course, you can change companies, you can go anywhere, you can travel around the world. The world has so many options, but then I realized that potentially, I mean, I'm still relatively young, this might be a good chance for me. Not only talking about the financial side of things, but actually doing something more and actually doing my own thing. And I think it's more than any kind of salary that you are just free to make your own schedule and not to have a boss and not to do any of those things that I was doing before. And I saw that as like a real chance to actually change something in my life. So, and I think it was that last year I really started pushing for it, and yeah, things started looking better. And it was just that one day I actually had no plans of quitting my job, but that one day I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I was like literally sitting at my desk. I think it was after that, I think we had like a break or something.
Did
And
you
I'm
do
like,
like the whole
I'm
walkout? Did you like, you know what? You're cool. You're cool. You're cool. I'm out.
not cool. No, 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 no. I didn't do any of that. My colleagues actually got to say, my colleagues were actually pretty good. So I'm not, they were actually, my boss was, I mean, you rarely meet a person that's like that. And you just you want that kind of mentorship in your life.
Yeah.
And very rarely you get an occasion to get something like that. But sometimes, you just got to decide. So I decided, and I was like, no way. And I was like, okay, I'm going to work this until the end of the month. Everyone said, okay, okay, we probably knew this was going to come sooner or later. And I was like, okay, see ya. I took a couple of days off, and I was officially, I officially quit my job. So now I had to do YouTube more, I guess.
Now, so
Yeah.
I've heard arguments. I'm like, once it becomes your job, you lose a little bit of love for it. Has it accelerated your love for it? Are you excited every day to like, to keep climbing these ranks and to get better and better? Do you feel like you've ever hit a wall? And if you do, how do you kind of push through that stuff?
Um, I don't know. I really don't know. It's like, you get some days where you're just not up for it. You don't want to get any kind of competitive racing, even though everybody's expecting you to. So that's kind of the rough part of it. But considering uh, that this is now the rough part, and I had really rough parts in the past, so it's not even comparable. And I'm like, even just tapping myself on the shoulder and saying, You'll make it." And I do it, and that's about it. So, I mean, there are some days where you're just not in the mood to stream. You're not like, you just don't feel okay, or something happens, or I don't know. Everyone got feelings, I guess. That's normal. So you're not a robot every day, even so some might consider that I'm a robot, but I'm not. I gotta say that I'm not. But all in all, I mean, rough days, good days. I try to make every day positive, and in general, I like what I do. So if you like what you do, it's not that difficult. You said that you lose a bit of that love for it,
Some
but
have said.
eh, maybe I lost. Maybe I'm not like, okay, I need to like really go for it now. When I was like a little bit younger, maybe. I mean, a couple of years ago, even. Okay, YouTube, like you see these guys, they have like 50, 100,000 subscribers. They gotta be making millions. They are like, they're like unicorns, you know? You rarely see them. You never see them. But it's a, how can you even explain it? It's a different point of view. I think I have just a different point of view on how things work now.
Well,
But in general, it's,
you definitely have the
yeah.
support. I know I know earlier when we were talking, you said that your girlfriend is a huge supporter of yours and motivator. And I think I mean, that's important after talking to, all the alumni from Behind the Wheel and all the people that I talk to. When you have that support at home, it definitely makes getting in that chair a little bit easier every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out to my girlfriend.
Shout out to Digit,
We
Miss Digit,
Miss Digit.
future Mrs. Digit.
Yeah, future Mrs. Digit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see you working. I see you work. So, all right. So as all of us aspiring creators and racers are, getting behind these wheels every day. I mean, shout out to a lot of the smaller channels because, it really it's what the community is made of. So I take a lot of time to try and give back and trying to contribute as much as I can. But I mean, a lot of us consider you a genius of racecraft. A lot of us do consider you a machine. When we're watching you, it's insane to see how you're in such tight moments. I mean, I've seen you in tight races with some of the best in the world, and you're cool as a cucumber, man. You just it doesn't, I'm a
Mm.
real weaver and bobber, I constantly lean, but I see you have this just steadfast focus. I mean, how long did it take you to get to this level? I mean, has it been years, or is it the time, or is it paying attention to certain craft? Like, what is it that we need to change and try to start climbing that ladder?
Mm. Now I see. First of all, I gotta mention this. I know you see a lot of cool comments, so we might
Oh
reflect
yeah.
on that a little bit later. But in general, when I started, when I was in like, I'm gonna say high splits, I wasn't exactly in the top splits. I was nervous. I was like really, really nervous. And then eventually, as you start understanding the track a little bit more, you understand your competitors who are you're actually racing against because they're usually the same guys. You know how they act, you know how they work. And you start developing this kind of pattern where you're like, I can make this work. You know what? I don't need to stress too much about it. And then I guess it's like a curve, but you never really, you might see me as relaxed, but I'm not exactly relaxed when I'm racing in top splits. That's not how it works. Maybe I seem relaxed, maybe I'm a little bit more relaxed than I was in the past. I'm definitely. Uh, but I'm never going to be like, okay, I'm chill. I'm like driving and I don't care. That doesn't happen. So I I think that's what a lot of people think I do. I'm like, I'm too chill. I'm just like, I'm almost sleeping at a wheel.
Yeah.
No, no. Inside, it's like I'm going for it. I'm really going for it. But as your skills develop, you start to understand what the other competitors can do, and you kind of have. I'm gonna call them reasonable expectations because eventually you get into the lobby and you're like, I can beat these guys, so I don't have to stress too much about it. So maybe underestimating the competition a little bit, but you know what? You just don't want to overstress yourself because when you actually put a lot of stress on yourself and you start overthinking, and when you're overthinking, you're making mistakes. So I think it's actually better to kind of not really underestimate your opponents, but say, okay, I can manage these guys. Let's keep the cool and let's have it my way. I'm gonna have my own race. I'm
The
not gonna think
digits
about the
way.
others.
The digits
Yeah,
way.
let's do it the digits way. But then there is the other side, and the other side is that when I get into those kind of crazy quick lobbies, world tour drivers. I mean, most of them are
For
world tour
sure.
drivers, and they're like, oh, I mean, he's doing this, I'm doing that. Realistically, I just got to drive my race. It's going to be hard to be in like 2/10 behind him. So, I mean, 2/10 is nothing when you think about it, but 2/10 made a grid from like P1 to P8 in a race. So that's what 2/10 do. And in that environment, you're just trying to not make a mistake because, a lot of people are pushing sometimes even over the limit and they make mistakes. So in those races, I really try to, like, of course, qualify the best I possibly can, even though sometimes it can be more successful and less successful. But in general, like, really try to think about the long run. Like, I'm not going to rush into it. I'm not going to destroy my tires early on. I mean, I've done it. And I'll probably do it in the future. I'm not a magician. I will most likely make mistakes, but it's um, it's a different kind of feeling. I guess you also develop this as you race more. You just try to, as I said, reasonable expectations, and then eventually you just understand what works. And yeah, I guess that's about it.
And
Uh,
putting
that's
putting
that's my
putting in the
perspective.
time for sure. Like let's
Yeah,
take a little bit
yeah.
of time to say hello to the chat, man. I know you're watching, so I mean, we got Pyro in here still. We got Dio Crawler jumped in. Shout out to my boy Crawler. I don't know if you know about Crawler, but Crawler he's only been around for, I don't know, I know it's less than a year, but he's skyrocketed to the A plus lobbies. I mean, he is one of the fastest friends I have, and he's so new. And he jumped over to the UK lobbies, skyrocketed to the A plus classes. So I don't know if you see Crawler out there, but that guy is absolutely insane. Greasy Sam Squatch, he just
I need
became
to
the
keep an eye on these
11
guys.
time, time champion in karting in real life, and he's out of
Really?
Canada. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I know about Greece. I know a lot about the guys there. So
is there
and
anybody that
gals.
stands out to you, man? You want to say hi to a few folks?
We got Just Dio, been OP since GT Sport. Appreciate it. I mean, I know Greasy, I know WRX, David here, Steven. Who else do we have? We got a lot of, I
We
mean,
got Wrenchy in
basically
there too. Have you heard of Wrench Wench?
Sebastian.
She is she
Of
came around,
course.
everybody knows Wrench now. I mean, she is GT's favorite gal at this point. You jump into her
I
and
know
it
about it. I know about it.
skyrocketed and went zero to hero really quickly. And now she's in A class lobbies and she's actually smoking me at a couple tracks. So shout out to Wrenchy. We see you out there grinding. I'm definitely a part of the Papa's House of Game team. They brought me in early, like month 2. I was, right after I started going live, Papa was like, "You want to join the team?" And I couldn't say no. Awesome group of people. So shout out to those guys. I know I'm starting to see some digit racing. I've seen some tags out there with digit at the top, and it kind of confused me at
Mm.
first. I didn't even know you had started a team. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we had a digit community theme that was basically whoever wants to be in in the community and wants to use DG, they can. So we got it's already on the website. We got a whole bunch of guys that already are in the team. Um, I thought about making some community events. Now we started actually. I started making community events. The next one is going to be 100 laps of Spa in the rain, so that's going to be fun. That's next week actually, and well, I thought about making even a competitive DG theme. So we got it already, but I don't know what am I even waiting for, because I guess I need more time to make all of that work. So
That's
I
wild.
think time, yeah, yeah, we got the infrastructure, we got everything that we need. Now we just got to race. We got
Speaking
to
of the
race more.
infrastructure, I got a little bit of the Digit website here. Let's talk about this Digit website and kind of what has gone into this and where did this come from?
That was my long. I mean, I had this idea for a very very long time, and I actually made my own website. But it was just about sharing setups, tips, advices, some stuff that I made. But it really wasn't on the level that I wanted to be. And then I actually had a couple of questions about it, because my views dropped, like significantly dropped. I didn't know why. And I asked the chat, like, does anyone that's a weird part of it. I asked the chat, does anyone have like any experience with it? And I'm like, okay. Simon answered me that one. I sent you an email. And I'm like, okay, thank you, Simon. I don't know who you are, but I will definitely have a look at your email. And he actually had a look at my data. He got back to me. And then I kind of pitched him the idea. So I said, we could potentially make this website. I got an idea where we can share setups. There are a whole bunch of leaderboards. For example, we can have user profiles that are not in the game or on the official website. We can have so many things. And he was like, "Yeah, okay, we can make it work." And I'm like, "Okay, let's make it work then." So by the way, he's Simon, and he's the developer. You can read all about it in the about section of the website as well.
Is that the
Um,
same seaman that's like number 2 in the world? It's like super super fast.
it's the other one. This one is slightly slower, I would say, slightly slower.
I've met the other
He
one.
has,
I've been chatting with him a little bit. My boy Pyro put me in contact with him, but another fast guy, man. Shout out to those guys.
shout out, man. But yeah, I mean, we got together that way, and just started building this thing. And took us, I mean, it took him. Basically, I was doing half the concept, basically providing some graphics, ideas, basically. He loves my ideas. Um, but yeah, that's how we started. And then we had this launch. I think it was, actually, it's going to be 1 year now. It's going to be 1 year. I mean, 11 months right now it is, I think. Uh, so we started it last year, and all of a sudden, when I launched it, or when we launched it, it was like, bam. I could see like a huge spike in views, a lot of positive feedback, a lot of great stuff. And from that point on, it was just developing more cool stuff, just trying to bring it onto a new level. And yeah, really, really going for it. We got long-term plans right now. We got some exciting features that you will see hopefully next week. Um, yeah, coaching. Um, I got the online course there. So everything is kind of merged together right now into one spot. So I guess the community loves it. I mean, it's quite a useful thing if your score is dropping or not. And we had a lot of questions about the score
Yeah, I was
system.
up in the 90s,
Yeah.
and then I dropped back down, but I stopped focusing on like hardcore qualifying, you know, and trying to actually get better as a racer, which means I had to put myself out there a little bit more as a racer. But the site has definitely helped me to kind of understand, you know, how many races are out there, kind of how and where I can improve. It's really cool to see the team feature. I remember when you added that, you know, and PHG like rose up to like the number 2 team in the country. Really amazing, man. Like, what is it? So when we look at all these community hosts and we look at everybody's on YouTube, there's people who are just, you know, the show's kind of about them, you know, in a lot of ways. But
Mhm.
watching you, I feel like you put out so much to the community. I don't know if you know, if that's reciprocated, if you get a lot of you know, residuals from that, or if there's an incentive to it, but it feels like you put out way more content, way more information than really anybody, in my opinion. I mean, where's the drive behind that to help us?
I wouldn't say that I'm doing more than the others. I think every content creator has its own part in this. But from my point of view, is that I started with something, and that something was a very small YouTube channel, and I started slowly developing my skills. And it's a process, and if I can do something to kind of help in that way, and if you just got the mentality to go for it, I mean, basically, you just need a lot of time and you need a lot of effort into it, and you need consistency. So I'll help you with advice if I can, but then it's all about you. You just got to put in the work and eventually just make a name for yourself. So I can do whatever. I mean, I can make million shout outs to channels that, in my opinion, are okay, but they're not the greatest. And that's okay. That's okay when you're starting. But when I see like you have one stream that is, I don't know, 1 month apart from one another, you need that consistency. And that's how it works on you, especially on YouTube. If you're away for a month, that's not going to work, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a
It
killer.
might work if you, yeah, if you're making like real quality videos and you're like the quickest man on the planet, and you got all of those things that actually work, then okay, you might take like a month off. You might take a month to create like a masterpiece. That's no problem. But if you're just occasionally streaming, trying to make it work, trying to go full time like that, that's really difficult. I mean, I might push you in the early days. That's really not a bad thing. But from my side of view, I don't know if you noticed, we launched like the creator workshop. We're gonna take like 10 creators and try to make them faster, I guess. I don't
No,
know
I
how
didn't hear
that's
about
gonna
this.
be.
How do we become
Yeah,
a part of that? Because I remember you
yeah,
did
I'll
one
send you a
lap
link.
watch of mine. There was one, and it's crazy because when I talk to people about this show, and you know, talking to guys like you, they're like, "Man, that's crazy! You got Digit on there. That's wild." And I'm like, you know what the revealing thing about all this is everybody out there that I've come in contact with is like a real person, you know, and even talking to you, it wasn't like a back and forth. It was like, yeah, man, why not? Let's do it. You know, and it was like, wow, this is
Mm.
really cool. And then when I sit down and talk, it gets more and more comfortable because you realize people are just people. But what I've learned is
Yeah.
that, as you kind of gain this celebrity, and there's a couple of you guys on here that have, that are really, setting the bar. It's you guys see everything that's happening. You do see the new channels, you do see people, but I think they're, after you get a certain maturity in the community, you start to realize, like, I need to see you work. I need to see you put in that time. I need to see you grind, because there's no shortcut to it.
Yeah.
It's putting in the work. Do you have like a weekly standard on what you do, like a set schedule, and when you put in your short form, when you put in your long form, how much time you spend on editing? How do you manage all that?
I usually have like a it's like a schedule, but it's like an open schedule. So it's not like I need to post that day. That's okay for Monday it is, but usually it works like this. So I stream on Monday because it's Monday, new dailies, I guess, and then it's Tuesday it's a video. Then I stream again on Wednesday, and now we had the World Series. So I changed my schedule a little bit. I streamed on Wednesday and I didn't stream on, nor it was a video on Thursday. And then I got back with a video on Friday, and then I streamed once again on Saturday. So that was for the World Series, because it was a different schedule, different type of events, and I really wanted to prepare myself definitely for the Manufacturers Cup. And if I'm constantly posting stuff and I'm constantly editing, I have no time to race. So I just kind of took a day for myself to race, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's kind of the schedule: Monday, Tuesday, and I try to make it Monday, as I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then like Thursday. Now I stream on Thursday, uh, but I even streamed on Saturday, so I don't know if I'm going to change that, because I just need like 2 days off.
Yeah.
So um, I call it like an open schedule, definitely for the shorts, because shorts are, I mean, if I get a content for the short, then I'm gonna post it. If I don't get a content for the short, I'm not going to post it, because it's like it just doesn't work.
You don't kind of want to flood. I heard early on someone say, you really want to focus on the quality, especially of your short
Yeah.
form content, because people will get accustomed to, like, oh, this is just another, random moment in a random race. And it's like, yeah, I'll show you support. I'll click the like button real quick. But if you really want people engaging, building those like looping videos, and I mean, I think, in my opinion, I've seen too much punt videos, and like, this bad happened, this bad
Mhm.
happened. And I'm starting to see kind of a change in the last month or two, actually, because some of the episodes on, or some of the videos that are coming out about, all the bad racecraft, have transitioned to kind of celebrating some of the good racecraft. And I think that that's really important for the community to kind of radiate positivity. And my whole mission out here, I'm not the fastest guy in the world. I'm not even a really good tech guy. I've learned everything from watching you guys. But my whole mission was to come out and be positive, and to try to help the community
Yeah.
be a better community. Do you have like from the beginning, like, a mission on, how your etiquette on stream was going to be, the professionalism, kind of what was it when you decided that, hey, I'm going to do this channel? What was your theme? Kind of what was
Hmm.
your, I guess, the whole goal?
Yeah, now when you ask me about that, I really don't know. I just started doing it, and that was about it. I never really thought about it that much. I wanted to make it professional in a way that, I got the nice overlays, nice graphics, um, but of course, try to be polite, because that's, I guess, what's normal. I guess, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Um, but yeah, I try to not to, I don't know, swear, for example, because no, that doesn't work for me in general, and I don't want to be that guy. So just like a very casual, normal community of people that want to throw in a couple of messages. And if they have a question, I will be more than happy to answer that question. And I guess that's how I got going. And then eventually just grew to where I am, and that's about it. I mean, it's just sometimes you're just trying to ask yourself, what do people actually need, and you kind of answered me. that question very early on in the stream. So it's just about the technical aspects of the cars, for example. It's the braking bias, the TCS, if you need to use something, if you use, I don't know, weak ABS, or if you're not using ABS. But like, I'm trying to be myself. I'm not trying to be, I don't know, someone else, or just trying to uh, trying to act on something that I'm not, because
Right.
sooner or later you will break the character. Sorry, and that's not going to look good. And that just, how do I say, you're fake.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
not saying that you're. I'm not saying you're fake. You're like, you're a normal person. Everyone breaks. That's what I'm
right.
saying. But just try to be yourself. Just try to like be polite to people, and just try to you know do stuff. And that's it. That's it. Don't try to like overdo things. I see constantly on YouTube people try to like overdo things. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about Gran Turismo and the community right now. I've seen countless channels basically, and they're just like really pushing things and like very energetic. Okay, you need to be energetic. I'm not saying anything against that. I mean, some people like energetic people. I'm like more like a casual,
Yeah.
relaxed type of
Shout
guy.
out to Sparks. I've seen
Yeah,
Sparks
shout out
here.
to Sparks.
Sparks brings that energy. You know, the crazy thing is like when you watch the different guys that just shred us on track, like Sparks will be sitting here one-handed, on a keyboard somewhere, drinking a coffee, and it just right up there in the top split, right at the top podium, man. And I watch you and it's like focus. And it's funny. I there was one time I jumped into your stream and I did like a dono, I think right before like the death chicane. And it wasn't that I distracted you, but you like looked up at chat and you were like, I shouldn't have looked at chat. How do you manage that? Cause when we look at you and we compare you to somebody like Rory, like who's like a community just savant. He's so good at managing the community and chatting and doing those things. That when we look at you, it's like you are an absolutely amazing racer and like a perfectionist almost. How have you been able to grow with engaging with the community better? And do you take time on your own to sharpen your racecraft outside of stream, or do we see everything live?
Mm, well, the community part and my racing, um, I cannot do things, but in general, the stuff that you see on Monday, I usually get on maybe like 30 minutes before the stream, 40 minutes. I do some time trial. I watch the replays from the best guys in the world. That saved me a lot of time, by the way, and I recommend that you all do that because it's a time saver. Learn breaking points, learn the turning points, learn gears, for example, and that saves a ton of time. And then when I just get onto the rig, I know what works, what doesn't work. I just get into the races, and that's basically it. And I think for the first couple of races is actually like trying to figure out what really works. Like, do you want to take, I don't know, an early curb, or you want to start accelerating just before the apex or just after the apex and all those little things. And then eventually, as I do more races, especially on Monday, I just progress. I mean, that's I guess normal how it goes. And that's about it. I don't really do that much driving outside of the streams. That's what I do, and that's the part of being a content creator, because you need to keep up with all of those things. It's not only about making or driving fast. So there
Right.
are many other creators that are faster than me, and they don't have the same numbers as I do. So it's
Yeah,
not
it's
all about
building that full
just
package.
it's it's a different way. It's just how can I say it? Explaining very difficult terms in very simple package, so to say.
Right.
So you're trying to explain very, very difficult topics, and you're just trying to put it all together, make it interesting for the viewer, and let the viewer know why they are actually watching the video. Not like just started talking about something and the video has a completely different title. So really addressing those two 2 points. And yeah, as you mentioned, it's not only about the racecraft, it's not only the community, it's like two things together that make a channel. And that's what really makes a difference, I would say.
That's what makes the aliens for sure, especially the ones who can manage that community and manage that racecraft. And I think again, we're just in awe of you. You were talking about some racing outside of sim racing and some of the opportunities. I definitely, you know, when we're goal setting and we're trying to find ambitions for getting on here, and shout out to the guys who are grinding through, you know, their first 100 subscribers, their first 300, those first 500. I recently just hit the 1,000 subscriber milestone, and I'm not a big numbers guy, and I don't know if that's just a personality flaw or something, but I try not to focus on the numbers a lot, but I'm definitely focused on the opportunities that could come from this. And you were talking about how outside of sim racing, and I don't know if this came before or after you started, but I was looking at this, you know, the opportunity you had to go out and drive the expo and kind of what that was like. And is this something that's come from Gran Turismo? Has Gran Turismo and sim racing accelerated your love for driving, or is this, you know, how does it all intertwine?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's undeniable because I don't think maybe I would have done it eventually one day when I was like, I don't know, 40 and I got to do some stuff. But to be fair, I always loved cars, and this just made my passion even stronger. So I probably would never done the things that I've done without sim racing in general, because, like for example, you have your day to day, you're just doing your casual job. You don't have that much time to do the things that you actually love. So to be in this position to do what I love and eventually to get those kind of chances, it's like, yeah, what more could I ask for? But that's the way it goes. I just started doing this, I improved my skills, and then eventually you jump into a real car because now it makes sense to do it because you're like, okay, I'm gonna make content about it. I'm going to have a good time. Like it's a golden package. It's like everything together on one place, and you're just trying to do it. And yeah, you're just trying to put your skills in from sim into real life, and you hope it works. So
And I
yeah.
listened to like the commentary on this video, and I don't have it playing, but listening to how you were kind of talking and the same verbiage, right? You know, you're talking about, you know, hitting your apex and accelerating right, and you know, and you spun out on one of these turns here, you know, clutching appropriately, you know. Tell us a little bit about this expo experience. And I mean, were you nervous? Did you, you know, was it kind of like the same brain, or what did you have to add? What was different?
Difference was not crashing because you need to pay for it. That's the big difference, I would say. That's one really, really big difference. But yeah, I mean, when you're in the track, like this was in the driving center, by the way. I did one later. I didn't post it on the YouTube channel because it wasn't that great. It was like for tourists. Uh, but this in the rain in the driving center, it feels like you're not going that quick, but I still hit, I don't know, it was like 80, maybe even 100 kilometers an hour. I think you can see it on the screen. And that's in the rain, that's quite a lot. And especially when you're doing over the cones, and we had this little jump, and I saw people spun. And if you spun in a specific way, you can actually crash into another car. And of course, if you crash into another car, you need to pay for it
Yeah.
because that's that's what you need to do. So I took it a bit easier. That's definitely something that I always thought about. Like, not let's not crash, but also trying to have some good time. And we had plenty of space from one side to another on some parts of the track. So there was a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to push it. Even if I spin, I spin. Nothing's going to happen. But you need to keep those things in mind because it's, when you're on the sim, click the option button, click restart, then let's go again.
Right.
Here, that's not the case. You need a new car.
How
That's,
how
yeah.
did this compare to the GR4? Like, Watching you go
Very
from the
different.
Expo to the GR4, I mean I mean, you said the Expo was a lot like a cart, you know, and I can
Mm,
imagine that. But what I can't imagine is sitting in, you know, one of these V8 freaking supercars. Like this is wild.
yeah. Well, the Expo, um, difficult question actually, because the Expo doesn't have the weight, for example. I think it's like 700 or maybe 800 kilos. That's like 1,700 pounds, I believe, more or less. So it's not a very heavy car. It's a very light car, and you add a driver, and it's still not heavy, and it still has like I think 300 horsepower. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making things up. I think it was like 350 or something. I need to check. But it's a completely different thing because it's very unstable. It doesn't have DCS. It doesn't have ABS. So every input matters. So if you lock up the wheels, you lock up the wheels. You can see them not spinning, and you're just sliding. That's about it. Also with the acceleration, you can see that I'm like counter steering the Expo all the time because it was impossible to keep the car in the, of course, in the rain and in one place if you're just trying to push it to the limit, of course. But you can keep it on the track, but you will never really know where the limit is. While with the GT4, I have to be careful because there are walls around me, and I'm driving a car that's worth, I don't know, 500,000,
Oh,
maybe more or less. I don't know. There is always insurance, guys. So if you're doing it, it's always insurance. We got a briefing. We got what did we have? Like the instructor always tells you what to do, what not to do, and the thing that I actually requested was to brake with my left foot, and they asked me like a couple of times, like you cannot brake. What do you mean? How you're really going to manage this? It's like I said, okay, I'm used to the I'm sim racing. You know what? I'm using a load cell and all of that stuff. And they were like, okay, let's do it, let's do it. And then the instructor gave me, I don't know, it was maybe not even a lap, and he said like, oh, okay, you can drive. And then we started, and then he wasn't like patient. He's like, go, just push, don't think much about it. But it was completely different experiences, and I mean these experiences are just experience. I gotta make sure to mention this because it's a very nice experience, but it's still not racing, and it's still not
yeah.
on the limit. It's like anyone can get there. When you get there, you gotta act like everyone else, and it's not, I mean, it's not like pushing to the absolute limit. It's more like keeping the car in one piece and having a good time. So that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure being
But
terrified
yeah,
of crashing it is a part of the
oof,
driving experience that none of us could relate to. I mean, the pressure of, I mean, just even a fender bender, doing anything wrong. And I thought I saw in one part of the video he had mentioned that they kind of taper you guys down because I know watching the
mhm,
video he was in your head, it was in your ear the whole time. It was feedback. But I thought he
yeah.
had said that you wanted to push it a little harder, and they kind of held you back.
Yeah. That's the part. I mean, because they are not, they need to think about safety. I mean, I need to look at it from their point of view. Uh, I've seen a lot of different drivers come into these experiences, and when we were in that Abu Dhabi experience, I think it was the same person on the track with me, and I lapped him like 2 times in 15 minutes. So it was, you got to think about safety first. And for example, if you're like a car guy, you know how to drive. You get there, you know about all of those different techniques, what you need to do, what you shouldn't do. But there are some people that just want to have some fun. They just want to get there, experience the speed, and you know, uh, get it done by the end of the day and really enjoy the experience. And they don't really know too much about, what works, what doesn't work, what is ABS, or why this car's wheels are stuck in one position and I cannot move them because that because it's no ABS, for example. And you need to explain all of those things. I mean, everything is said in the briefing, but until you really sit in the real car, you don't know how it feels. And you need to think about the instructors as well. So yeah, it's yeah, basically they're just trying to get the car back in one piece.
Did
That's what it
having
is.
those experiences help you to, I guess, did any of that translate back into sim racing? I know we talk about sim racing translating to real life, but after you feel that, do you have kind of a better understanding for how a car feels and what it's doing in GT?
Oh, well, definitely it helps because I already know what the car needs to do to be quick. So I know that I cannot like turn the wheel more than 90 degrees in some of the turns. I know that, if I turn the wheel and brake at the same time, the back is going to get loose, and that's not great. I know what I should do. I know how it all works, but getting it in real life is a lot different because you need to work with G forces. You simply don't have the visibility, and I think that's one of the things that no one really talks about. Getting the feel of the car, all of that is good. You can feel the car, you can accelerate, brake, but the vision is like the worst thing in a real car
Mm,
because I was in the KDM, and I think it was like this. I'm sitting like this in a car, and I can move my head like this. So
jeez.
nothing. You can see the mirrors, but outside of that, like you need to really move your head around. And also in the GT4 to to just see around, it was like really really difficult because on one side you got a panel. I mean, it was actually the seat. I think it was the seat that goes like this, and from the other side also is the seat, and in front of you you don't really see much because you got the dash, you got the it's very aerodynamic car. And if you want to get aerodynamic, you cannot have like huge, I mean, how do you call it, huge sight or
Yeah, we're spoiled
huge
with all
portion
these
of
panels, and we're able to kind
everything.
of
Is
adjust that with the 360 and everything.
You just need to see it, and you just need to sit in the real car to see exactly how much these drivers see, and that's like nothing.
Yeah, it's.
Your visibility is very limited there.
I remember the
And
first time I ever sat in like I sat in like a Copo Camaro, and it was pretty amazing car, but it was like, I mean, the window felt like that big, and then this window, and then I was like, how do you see behind you? There's true skill out there, man. And shout out to the people who are doing this in real life, because it's exhilarating enough to build, this huge community, to provide guys like, you and with a career, and like, guys like me who are trying to do something extra with an opportunity. It's all because we're trying to get a taste of that. And I think probably for 99% of us, if we actually got a taste of that, we'd be terrified.
well, I was terrified for like the first couple of minutes, and then you relax a little bit. But again, it's just difficult. I mean, you can play games, you can do, I mean, you can do GT, you can do iRacing or whatever you want to do, but the feeling of it, like I think someone in the chat mentioned VR. So in VR, you can move your head as much as you like, but in this stuff, you're like barely moving, and that's when you move, it's just different. You just
So
gotta
there won't be
experience
any
it.
of my favorite famous Viking leaning. I mean, I ride motorcycles, so like everything is in the body. So like I think my neuro system is just attached that way. So if I move my arms, I move my head. But it doesn't look like there's going to be any of that if I ever do decide to jump in a real life race car. But amazing opportunities that this career path and these goals and all these things. I see you were also a two-time national champion. And I believe, I forget which series that was in, but what kind of,
Um,
how did that happen? Like, is that something that you're more focused on, is getting to the top, or is it content creating?
no, it was Gran Turismo Sport. It was 2000 and I think it was 2020 and 2021, maybe even 2022. I cannot remember. It was a couple of years ago. So we had a national competition, and I won both times. The later we had more, but I didn't. I didn't go for it. So it was it was all pace. I mean, nothing to do with content creation. I wasn't really doing that much of content creation at that point. So yeah, I won those two events and got myself a chance to eventually go to the World Motorsport Games. So that was in France, and yeah, I actually made it to the finals. That was ACC because they changed the sim. Um, but yeah, I made it to the finals. I think I was like 16 out of, I don't know, 50 something nations. So yeah, it kind of worked out for me, but now I haven't really done it. I mean, last year I think I did a national championship in iRacing, and I finished in fourth place. So that was kind of a new experience for me because I never played iRacing. And if I hadn't crashed 2 times in 6 races, maybe I would have even been a champion. But that's for another story, definitely. But
That's pretty
yeah.
amazing, man. That's so I really hope people are inspired by the opportunities and abilities to kind of be in your own home and explore the world. I mean, for me, I've never been out of the States, you know, and I've traveled the United States a little bit, but you know, being able to communicate with people, you know, in Europe and Australia and you know, in the Asia, like all over the world. You know, sitting here talking with somebody all the way out in Croatia, I'm sure it's getting late there, so I'm gonna let you go here soon. But it's just it's mind blowing to me, and the community has been amazing, and we're truly blessed to have all the ability to do this, and in the times that we live in. Um, I don't know what the future of sim racing is going to hold, like how it's going to evolve. I'm sure the immersion is going to continue to get, you know, just more and more immersive, I guess. And I'm seeing guys with vests and vibrations and you know, you have all the hydraulic panels and all these cool things. So it's going to be really interesting, man. But one thing we always want to figure out, and we kind of save this for the end when we do a little community shout out, is where did the name Digit Edge come from, and how did that come to be?
That's a long story. Well, actually, it's not that long, so I'm going to tell it. I first started with when I basically built my channel. I thought about what's going to be a good name for a channel, and I had no names. So I used a PSN ID that I think I did when I was 15 years old or something. I think it was the digit. I think the digit maniac, something like that. It was. And then I created a logo, created a YouTube channel, and started doing stuff. And I think I reached 1,000 subscribers. And then I thought about it. This doesn't sound great. So let's change it to something. And I found, digit is fine. And gaming, why not? Let's make it work. So it was digit gaming at that point. And I stuck with digit gaming for a couple of years actually. And then I realized, I think it was was it last year? Last or 2 years ago?
I
Not
think it
sure
was last
right
year
now.
when I saw you made the
Last
announcement.
year. Yeah, last year probably. And I was like, I'm not doing any kind of gaming content. All that I do is racing. Like that's all that I do. I do GT, I do some real stuff, I do some reviews, but I'm not connected to gaming as much. I mean, I'm not streaming Call of Duty. I'm doing Gran Turismo most of the time. And it was like, let's rename this to Digit Racing. And that's how Digit Racing came together. And then later, it was about the website. And I thought about what is going to be a good name for the website. I got DG. I was like, really, DG. And I just added E's on one side and another. And all of a sudden, it's Edge with the same logo. And I thought about it for a while. That was actually like, this can work. This can work. And now Edge is could be its own identity, I think. Maybe
For
not yet,
sure.
but who knows. But yeah, I started feeling like the Digit Maniac to Digit Gaming, then to Digit Racing, and then it's like Digit Racing Edge. But Digit Racing is me as a YouTube channel, and Edge is just a platform. It's a website
No,
basically.
yeah, it's definitely I think
So
branding is super important. And I think you know, numbers in sports is always important, but I think definitely in this YouTube space and in the GT space, your name is big. It's important, you know, and I think you've found one of those simple, professional, edgy, you know, logos and all of it just works together, man. So kudos to you on that too. I know a lot of
thank
people
you.
struggle with that and they're constantly trying to logo and brand, but just I mean, you hear it from Digit himself, you know, it's a process and it's you're always getting better. So that's super, super cool. Is there anybody in the community you want to shout out to? Anybody that's inspired you or just kind of been there along the way? We have, you know, dozens and dozens of people in the chat right now. I know that you're used to kind of managing those big communities. For me, it's really awesome to see so many people here. But is there anybody that, in particular that stands out to you?
I remember my first member. That's Bruno. He is still a member of the channel. That's like 4 years, I think, when I got those nice features, memberships, and all of that. Bruno was definitely. I don't know who he is. He's always Bruno to me. And there are so many names. I don't know if I can mention anyone, but I really keep in touch with Flash. So, for example, Flash Dagger has been
Flash
with
is
me
fast.
since. Yeah, Flash is fast, and he's been with me for a very, very long time. So, I mean, since my very early days, like literally the big. I mean, I'm gonna say the beginning, but maybe when I had like 500, 600 subscribers, maybe Captain Howdy needs a shout out. Oh yes, Jazz Dio is always here
I
as
see
well as
Captain Howdy
Grove.
put in work, man. Captain Howdy supports this
Yeah.
community so much. I
We need
shout
more
out to you,
shout outs,
sir,
man. We need more shout outs.
for sure.
But
Heck yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, there are so many names that I just started making some names, and then eventually you meet people, and it's just it's a very, very long journey, and it would take me like a year to just to go through all of the people that I met and all of all of this stuff. So yeah, yeah, that's basically. I see one comment about my coaches. Luke is someone that I personally coached when he started, and all of a sudden he became really quick. So yeah, he became a coach as well. We got some nice things together, but that's not been around since the early days. That's just, I'm gonna call it recent, maybe like a year and a half, maybe. So, but still, it's still a long time. But yeah, Flash definitely from the early days.
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate that so much. You were definitely, someone said it best. You're a pillar in the racing community. I don't know if you aspired to be that or if you set out to be that, but I hope today, at least in our little community, it shows you how much we appreciate you. All the amazing comments that have come in, all the people who showed up today, the overlap in communities that are going to happen because of this. Thank you for showing, you're another human being, that you're not
I'm
just
not a
the
robot, man.
not a robot, not a machine, that you do, you can laugh and carry on a conversation with us. And it's not just about the racing, but that you have a true passion and love for the community and being an example. I'll give the floor once again to say goodbye, man, but I truly appreciate you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and it was a nice chat, I gotta say.
Thank you, brother. I will let you go, get back to your lovely girlfriend and your beautiful life out in Croatia. I look forward to seeing you out there. And until next time, man, appreciate you.
Appreciate it. See you next time.
Later, brother.
Bye bye to everyone. See you.
Wow. Wow. Wow, man. What? Digit Edge Racing. Man, I'm sitting here, I'm like starstruck again, and I'm sitting here 6 months, kind of. I think it's been 6 months since we started behind the wheel. I don't really know how long it's been, but I'm so blown away at how fluid and amazing these conversations have been. The community showing out today and showing up. I mean, we had so many people in the chat: Snipey, WRX, David, Grove, Speedy, Cap, Dio, Yaki, Papa, Dutchy, Photo, and Alto. You had Captain Howdy, Otto, Steven, Dio. I see you out there, brother. I see all of you guys today. We had Wrenchy in here, we had Crawler in here. I mean, I don't even, the longer I scroll, the more people I see. Blankenship. I mean, you guys are amazing. Big Rob showing up, Blanco showing up, and all the donos and everybody who support me. I appreciate you so much, man. Honestly, it'll make me emotional if I talk about it. It takes a lot to do this. I'm a busy man. I work full time. I got 4 kids. Um, Trying to be competitive on the racetrack with you guys is definitely something that's important to me. It's important to me to actually be a competitive racer. It's more important to me to be a good host to you guys. This podcast is very, very dear to my heart. It's become something that I'm very passionate about, and I see I see potential and maybe some abilities to do some bigger things. I know there's a lot of people out there that have talked to me about being on behind the wheel, and I definitely want to get each and every one of you the opportunity to do that. So I see you guys. I love you guys. It has been, don't do a Rory and cry. I'm gonna try not to, man. But honestly, like I said, this has become something so important to my life, and it's pivotal. That I'm just, again, blessed and just grateful for you guys. So I won't drag it out for too long. The episode, we ran for another hour with one of the most amazing brains in racecraft, and I hope you gain some insight today. I hope you gain, like for me, I only watch one leader video and I kind of replicate that guy, but I'm gonna watch all of them. I'm gonna watch like the top 5, you know, to try to see little bits of racecraft that I can gather, just the same way I watch you guys, and I try to figure out, especially with the update this week, and like I didn't even want to go back on race B because I didn't want to learn a new car. So jumping into race C and trying, you know, trying my odds out there. But Grove, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for being out here. Everybody, I love you guys. Another banger episode. Until next time, y'all. Viking King is out.
Racing souls of fire inside, chasing dreams where the legends hide. Through the turns, the glory's real. Behind the wheel, we feel the thrill. Papa's house, the crown shines bright. Crazy lanes in the dead of night. Austin GT and 𝙃𝙼𝙑𝙀. Grim and the crew driving it insane. Erratic twists and Marley's groove. 𝙃𝙼𝙆𝙀 grace with every move. 𝙃𝐼𝙑𝙀𝙀 grin. This is the race where we all begin. C20 wave, burns the track. Dutchies roll, there's no going back. Rory's pace and TQ stride. 𝙃 and 𝙃𝘼𝙑𝙀, the kingdom's pride. Papa's house, the crown shines bright. Crazy lanes in the dead of night. Austin GT and 𝙃𝙼𝙑𝙀. Grim and the crew driving it insane. Legends carved on asphalt's face. Racing royalty holds the space. We honor them, we join the scene. Our favorite racers, the speed supreme. Erratic twists and Marley's groove. 𝙃𝙼𝙀𝙀 grace with every move. 𝙃𝐼𝙑𝙀𝙀 and jesters grin. This is the race where we all begin. Erratic twists and Marley's groove. 𝙃𝙃𝙀𝙀 grace with every move. 𝙃𝐼𝙑𝙀𝙀 and jesters grin. This is the race where we all begin. Insane. 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 Erratic twists and Marley's groove. 𝙃𝙃𝙀𝙀 grace with every move. 𝙃𝐼𝙑𝙀𝙀 and jesters grin. This is the race where we all begin.